on the foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on the foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show.
Entrando por tus oídos hasta llegar al centro de tus emociones, ADR Networks está en este momento
activando tus sentidos.
ADR Networks presenta.
This is Celestine Angel.
I'm Isaac Crouch.
And this is...
Foreign Show!
On the foreign show.
Can you hear us?
Yes, y'all. Check. 1 2 1 2. TFS family, welcome. My name is Isaac Rodriguez.
I'm Celestine Angel, and
Yes.
we're here activating your senses.
On the ADR network. Welcome to the show.
Right. So right now for the Inside the Front of the day, we just want to again talk a police giveaway. Like we have received, I think the ADR inbox probably received a lot of different answers from different people and from different shows. So like what we are going to suggest to our That Foreign Show audience is that if you did submit or like take a screenshot and send it to our Facebook page or send it to our Instagram. It's just That Foreign Show. It's very simple. And so we can see your answers and we can choose the winners for May's tickets.
Yes.
And the thing is like the production has informed us that maybe like you guys didn't tag ADR properly. So you make sure that you submit to the ADR Networks MX. This is the full Instagram tag, ADR Networks,
ADR Networks MX on Instagram.
Yes, and
send them a DM.
If you just like do the screenshot and everything, we can check it all properly. And yeah, we have tickets to give away, and it's a pair of tickets for each winner. So like do it, try to just share with us. Basically the question is, maybe you know the question.
Yes.
Which bar?
We want you to tell us about a bar that you really like, something that really touched you or something that left an impression. And tell us about this bar. That's it.
Yeah, bar or restaurant. So bar or restaurant, whatever that an establishment that when you first arrived, it was like your refuge. It was somewhere that you feel at home at. It doesn't necessarily need to be somewhere that has your country's food, but like just a vibe that makes you feel good and relaxed and comfortable. Yeah. So like for us, it's Starbucks. Yeah. So we're looking forward to hearing all your answers. We would like to know, and we probably would check those places out. And,
yes.
Yeah, and please write the place and your story.
Wait, are we really going with Starbucks?
The truth is, it's Starbucks. Like we were calling it our church for a while. Yeah.
Not for the coffee and all that. You coffee connoisseurs out there,
Yeah, I know. But then again, like Starbucks coffee in Mexico is also Mexican coffee, and Mexican coffee is like the bomb, Yeah. So yeah, basically that's all we have for the Insider today. We just want to remind you guys about the giveaway. So and our guest today is called Melanie. Yeah.
Yo.
Oh, they're showing the Cinepolis thing. Okay. Yeah, okay, shout out to Cinepolis. Thank you for thank you for
Big shout out to Cinepolis, yes.
sponsorship.
No, but for real, because we've watched movies in one of the theaters before, and it was a good experience.
Yeah, and like let me check, but I'm not sure what kind of tickets that like our giveaway will be giving out. Maybe it's VIP. I don't know. Well, we will like update like as like watch our pages and then yeah. So yeah, so we have Melanie, who is I'm not sure whether to call her an American Mexican, but she was born here and she didn't grow up here. She left when she was a wee babe, and and then she came back. So we want to talk to her about her story, and she's already here. So if you guys can let her in, we're excited to have her.
Yes, it's very interesting because we're going to talk about Mexican culture and also
This episode will be great.
Yeah, and to hear it from her point of view, that's going to be really interesting. Yes. So we have Melanie joining us. I think she's backstage.
Yes, she's backstage.
Yeah.
So anytime now she'll be joining us. Yeah, and like she went like I'm just gonna like until she comes like I'm just gonna say what she has told me so far. Like she at 2 months old, her family took her to Chicago. So like, and then she came back like in her teens and she has been here ever since. So like, it'd be very interesting to hear like how she feels like acclimatizing back to this environment. Actually, it's not back because she never knew the environment, you know, like, as a babe, like what would you know, and
That
what was it like as a Mexican? Living in America, and like right now, what does she identify as? Yeah.
Yes, I mean she's Mexican, by DNA, by birth, like. But then there's the whole cultural thing, which is a whole different thing, right? Like, which is pretty interesting, right? Like it begs the question, like, how does a person feel comfortable, or what do you call home? What do you call, or what do you need to be comfortable in a place? Do you need to feel accepted by the people? Do you need to feel like you understand what's going on, the culture, and that you're very plugged in, or these kind of questions, existential questions, I guess, but they sometimes do weigh on our minds, and this brings to mind another video that I saw of a person in a similar situation, basically a Mexican who lived most of his life in the US. And here we have Melanie in the house.
Hi.
Welcome, Melanie. Welcome to the Foreign Show. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
So this is Isaac, he's my husband, and yes, we are meeting for the first time online, like Melanie and us.
Yeah, you guys are doing some business together.
Yeah.
What was that you said? Sorry, I didn't catch you.
I spoke to Celine a little bit through text like a few days ago. That's how I met her, I think, through the Facebook page, actually. Foreigners in Mexico.
Okay, hang on. There's some audio being played. Do you hear that? Do you hear the song being played?
No.
No? Okay, I guess it's on my end.
Yeah, I think it's on. Just give me a second. Sure.
Okay, 1 second, Melanie. Okay, we are good, right? Okay, yes, Melanie, please. We want to get into your story, but can you repeat your sentence because I didn't hear it.
Oh yeah, that I met Celestina on the Facebook page of Foreigners in Mexico. Give me 1 second. Let me close the door on my dogs.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's just get all the technical stuff.
Getting all the technical stuff down,
Right.
Dogs, and here we are hearing it. Suddenly there's a track that's playing, an Easter track,
Yeah, so basically, if you guys have any questions for Melanie, also like write in and let us know,
please,
like
so
on
that we can
Facebook, and we can respond.
Yep.
So okay, how do you keep your dog so quiet?
I have 3 actually. I have 3.
Whoa,
Yeah.
You're a dog lover.
Yeah, I love my dogs. One of them is actually going to be turned 10 years old on Sunday.
Oh wow.
His birthday.
Yeah.
Do you usually have like dog parties?
Yeah, I do, but I take them just.
Oh my god, yeah.
I usually take them to a restaurant in Roma, which is pet
Uh-huh.
friendly, and so I usually
Mm.
take them there. That's all I do. Like I don't throw them whole party, but I do take them out to eat.
Yeah, I mean, do you get the hats and stuff? Or
I did
you all
once.
wear
I did once.
Yeah, and like at dog parties, do you invite like other owners of dogs and then they bring their dogs along?
Just one friend that I know is that she's as crazy as I am of that. So yeah, just her.
But it's
Well,
pretty fun to have like the
yeah.
like like those places that like allow dogs and then you can have the dog parties, right? Like in Roma, it's so cool to do that.
Yeah, and Roma is really a nice place for that, no? Because a lot of dog-friendly cafes.
Yeah,
And
and they're very
bars.
eco-conscious and they are very into sustainability. Like the environment is just like that, like
So Celestine was telling everybody that you moved to the US at about 2 months old, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
so
go
can you
ahead.
tell us like your story from that point on, and like how did you end up back here? And
Yeah, well, my parents actually crossed the desert. They went by themselves, my mom and my dad. But my aunts actually came to Mexico. It was before 9/11, so it was like in 1996, before airports were like their security was heavy. So my aunt was actually able to take me on the plane with my cousin's papers. That's how they took me to the US.
okay.
And while my parents went through the desert. So it was like I was with my mom about a month because my mom left when I was like 1 month old. And then like after they were there already, they sent my aunts to get me to the US, and then I was there. Basically I went to kindergarten in Chicago. I was there in middle school and freshman year. That was my last school year in Chicago, freshman year. And then my mom decided that she decided that she did not want to be in Chicago anymore. And she all of a sudden said, "We're going back to Mexico." So of course my first reaction was no, because I
Yeah.
didn't know anyone here in Mexico. I spoke to my family here in Mexico, but it wasn't like I had any relationship with them. And
yeah, I get it.
so my sister actually came too. My sister, she was born in the US. So our story is like backwards. She was born in the US but raised as Mexican. And I was born and raised in Chicago.
That's really interesting.
Right.
Yeah. Like my sister,
You guys are not twins, right, by any chance?
no, she does
Okay,
not.
that would have been.
She does not identify as an American. She identifies as a Mexican because she was about 3 years old when she came to Mexico. So she studied here.
Right.
Yeah. So then after we
And
came,
how about for you? Like talking about like cultural identity, do you identify yourself as American, Mexican, Mexican American? Like
I think at a point, it was just like America, I was just like, okay, I was raised over there, so I am Mexican American. But then after I was like, no, okay, so I am Mexican. My roots are Mexican. I think that I've been in Mexico and in the US the same amount of time throughout. I'm 27 years old. I've been the same amount of time in the US and here.
Right.
So there's actually a song that it's a Mexican song that says, "I'm not from here and I'm not from America. I'm just Mexican American." It's so that's why I just identify. I was raised in Chicago,
right.
but not really. Now I don't feel like an American just because now everything that I know is from Mexico now. Like I do watch things from news from America and everything like that, but it does not like identify me as much as it would as something Mexican. So I would say now
Right.
I completely Mexican.
Now you identify as Mexican, but like like I mean like for example, like in terms of like how you speak English and all that, is you definitely have the full influence of America, and
Yeah.
so it's like your whole other identity in itself, right? Like yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I think I mean, it's very interesting because like you literally have you that whole thing that's a part of you, right? That like you mentioned that now when you see Americans things or certain things, you don't feel so identified with it, right?
Yeah.
But do you feel more identified when you see stuff here in Mexico? Do you feel more
Connected with it.
connected? You know.
That's a good question because I kind of also don't. It's like a on and off thing. It's just that like, I don't feel from here nor from the US. But like you said, my cultural things do come from America. Just because, for example, in my family, even though we live here in Mexico, my sister and I do celebrate Thanksgiving. And we do certain things that maybe and cultural things that maybe Mexican would do just because we were raised over there. And it's like more in me than my sister because I'm
Yeah,
aware
right. Yeah.
of those kind of things. So
Yeah,
yeah.
like I mean, this actually is very interesting. So, how about you and your sister? Like, how did you guys like connect? Because you're like what you said, your story is the opposite. So, like, maybe you would like you want to celebrate Thanksgiving, but she's like, but I've never celebrated I'm sure she did like first 3 years, but she's too young. She was too young, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Remember.
Like actually, when we got here, my sister did speak English. Like that's all she spoke English. But like after a few whiles, when she started kindergarten and then elementary, her English it went away, and she started going to Spanish. So that's one thing that we don't connect in because like whenever I try to speak to her in English, she's just like, "Wait, speak slower," because I'm not used to it.
She's losing.
So yeah, that's one thing that that we don't
So
connect.
back in the US, like your family, do you converse in English or Spanish?
With my mom and my dad, it was always Spanish. With the rest of my dad's family, it was always English, just because most of them were already born over there. So it was always English. So that actually, when I came here to Mexico, like I knew how to speak Spanish already because of my mom and my dad, but I did not know how to read it or write it. Like it was difficult for me to read like long, big words. So that was actually one of the big issues that I had when I started school here, just because so we got here in December and I started school in January, like after vacations. And funny thing, my first class was English. And at that time, one of the teachers that we had, like the English teacher that we had was actually from Alabama. So when I go into the room, I see this Caucasian woman just standing in the room. I'm like, wait, does she speak English? So like I got close to her and I'm like, hi. And like all of a sudden she's like, oh, hi. Do you speak English? I was like, yes, I do speak English. Like I got so happy that my first class was actually English. And she's like, whoa, where are you from? Like I started telling her my whole story. And then she's like, oh, but then like my other classmates were listening to me. Like they were just like, I'm
like where's she from kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
and then that's another thing, right? Like if you are like too American or too Western, then like the rest of your your Mexican friends are going to be like what's up with you, so mamon or something, right?
Actually, where I moved to when we arrived here in Mexico was around near Zocalo. So when I got here, I kind of got scared just because of the place that we went, because I don't know if you ever been to Zocalo, like around everywhere, and you know that it's always full of people in December because of all the stores, all the commercial things.
Yes.
And so when I arrive, I see like the street really, really full of people. And the first my reaction was like, why is it so full of people? Why is everyone selling stuff? Why is everyone screaming? Why is And when I arrived to the apartments where we lived at, that's basically what they said about me, that I was a mamona just because I didn't want to speak to anyone, but it wasn't because I didn't want to speak to anyone. I just felt uncomfortable because it was like, now I have to speak Spanish all the time.
And let me ask you this, do you think in that particular sense of this thing of like speaking to a lot of people, do you think that's different in the US and Mexico? Do you feel like the people here are more social in a way?
Yeah, definitely. Like actually, yeah. One of the things that I try to always do is actually find people who I can also relate to, still with the part of English and being able to relate stuff of being foreigners and everything. But it's always a little bit kind of more difficult than I would with a Mexican person, like the person who was raised here. Like I can go up to, I don't know, probably my neighbor and start speaking to her, and everything will be like normal. But down or probably to a foreigner or something, it's a little bit more difficult, I think, just because we're not that social. And that's one thing that I've been working on also, because I'm not that social. Like I might smile at you, but I will be nervous just to go up to you just because like I don't see it normal because I was not raised like that, just speaking
Right.
out to someone out of nowhere. And here in Mexico, even if you're waiting for the bus and a lady is right next to you, she'll tell you, "Oh, the weather's kind of cloudy
Yeah,
today."
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, it is cloudy.
Yeah, yeah. And it's I mean, like as foreigners, we really like it. It feels very present, and then you are addressing every person around. But back in Asia, it's completely weird. Like nobody greets nobody. Like in general,
Generally, it's that kind of like silent.
yeah. So something we really love about Mexico is like how friendly people are. And,
Yeah. And I want to ask you this also, like that point you mentioned when you saw that English teacher, the Caucasian lady in the room, and you're like, yes, I can. You felt relief, like you can connect, you can speak English like with someone, How did what happened from that point onwards? Like, did you manage to find some people, close friends who speak English, or do you start opening your Spanish tabs?
I had to actually start speaking in Spanish the whole time. So as soon as they heard me speak with the teacher, English, the first thing was, "Where are you from?" So then it was like, "Oh, okay, so I'm from here, blah blah blah." And then after that, we had Spanish class and then chemistry class, and I had to read. I refused to read. Like my chemistry teacher, he was like, "Read page 101." I was like, "No," and he was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I don't want to read." He's like, "If you don't read, you're gonna get a bad grade."
Melanie.
And I was like, ugh. So I refused to read. And he actually wanted to fail me in chemistry just because I refused to read. I did do the homework and everything, but he actually called my mom saying that I refused to read, which wasn't my fault. It was just that I did not feel secure about me being able to read in Spanish, just because I knew I couldn't say most words.
Right.
So after that, my mom had to go to school. My daughter's still learning how to read well in Spanish and write. And stuff like that. So that was one of the issues that I had when I first started school here in Mexico. But I mean, other than that, I think I was actually able kind of to make a little bit of money starting once I got into school in Mexico, just because some of my classmates were telling me if I could do some homework for them. And I did, but I would charge them. So that's one of the benefits I had.
Private business on the side.
They would tell me, "Oh, yeah."
You've got a business. You got a business going like when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Hey, Melanie, I wanna.
College, I would do it. I was like, okay, you're not willing to study. It's not that difficult. You're not willing to study, and you're willing to go ahead. I don't mind. It's your business. Go ahead.
Exactly. Hey, let me ask you this: if we go back a bit, because you mentioned when your folks crossed the desert, right? And this whole thing about this point, basically, where your family decided that they want to move to the US, right? And I mean, obviously, it's to get a better paying job and stuff like that, right? Was that the main driving reason why they wanted to? So they wanted to come to the US. I know this is this is a story that we all know, but I just want to hear it from your mouth, So your family decided that there's more money in the US, right? And what were they doing, or which part of Mexico were they actually from?
So my mom is actually from Veracruz, and my dad is from Mexico City. They live here in Mexico City. Yeah.
Right, but
so
you said your. Sorry.
They decided to
You
go to
said it
Chicago basically because my dad's family is in Chicago. Sorry.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
go
what I was
ahead.
going to ask. Like, your dad already had family living in the U.S., so it was an option for you guys, right?
Oh,
That,
okay,
yeah,
okay, I see.
yeah.
Okay,
I think that was the connecting point as well.
right. So
Yeah,
when
like we
your
wanted to
your
get
dad,
obviously they wanted me to get a better education. That was one, making more money. And also because we were gonna go to a place where, my dad already knew someone. We wouldn't be like alone. Like unfortunately
Mm,
most people that immigrate are. We were gonna have like a support
mm,
system. So that's basically why they decided to go.
right, right.
and like when you were there, you did you feel like you had a lot of family there already? Like your dad's family was big.
Yes. Actually all of my dad's family is over there. The only ones that are here, like probably two brothers, and that's it. Like the rest are over there. My grandma on my dad's
Oh,
side, everyone.
right. So that will make it very easy for you to kind of like feel like you're already part of the system over there, and then like it was easy for you to immerse yourself in the American lifestyle, right? Because you have a lot of family there. They are all set up already and all that. But anyway, you were 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's why I think that
Yeah, we couldn't hear you. Um, I think there were some connection issues. What did you say? Could you repeat it
yeah,
again,
that
please?
was can you hear me now?
Mhm.
No.
No, the
Can you hear me now?
like some words get cut off. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Now we can hear it.
Okay.
You can.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's
Cool.
basically why I
Shh.
think that it was, I think it's cutting out a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
there's a
is. Yeah,
lag. Yeah,
there's a lag.
yeah. Maybe it's your connection. You could
Yeah.
maybe you could go out and come back into the stream. Maybe I don't know.
That might help.
Mhm.
Yeah, you wanna try that?
Okay.
See if the
Yeah.
connection improves.
Please. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
See you in a bit. Wow, really interesting these topics that we're talking about. Like and I also want to talk about some of the things that you were showing me earlier. Your notes.
Yeah, like what to discuss with Melanie, right? Like I mean, definitely. Okay, she already spoke about like cultural identity because I mean, right now we are also talking to all the Mexican Americans that are here in Mexico, like especially Mexicans who are like arriving from overseas. Doesn't need to be America, and also those that left for a long time and have returned and like are trying to kind of rediscover Mexico again.
Yeah,
And like
rediscover
we're
Mexico,
really
yeah.
talking to all these people because like looking through the eyes of Melanie, like we want to see like what people can understand and learn from being back here, like what's the feeling and all that kind of thing. So
And also like how she actually or how a person navigates there, right? Like how do you start to build a base again, right, in a new place? I guess it's pretty similar to moving to a new country.
Yeah.
But there's the added element which makes it personal. By the way, there's this added element of a cultural kind of like an identity question. It's like you're supposed to feel comfortable in Mexico because you're Mexican, but you don't quite because
and you look Mexican.
You're treated like a Mexican, and in fact, like what Melanie says, if you start speaking some foreign language, people are going to start assuming that you're being proud. What they say, mamon.
I mean, there are a few points to cover. Like, also, like, although she's Mexican, but like I wonder about when she came back. Like her accent, was it weird for the locals? Because I'm sure the Spanish that she spoke in the US is probably slightly different.
Slightly different, yeah.
I mean, just accent wise, or even the slangs. Because like if her family left, she said 96, is it? I can't remember.
96, yeah.
Yeah, but like if she left 96, I wonder if it's the same. Is the same accent still? Everything doesn't change. I mean, there's all these questions to ask. Like, well, let's see if she's having problems coming back. Let me just check.
For joining us here, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here on That Foreign Show on ADR Networks. All right, I'm Isaac Rakesh. I got Celestine with me, and we have a special guest today, Melanie. All right, she's joining us, and she's talking to us basically about her story and about rediscovering her roots. All right, because she was born in Mexico, but she moved as a baby, 2 months.
So she doesn't know anything about growing up in Mexico. Then she came back when she was a teenager.
So it's not right to say she moved. I think it's
her parents moved. Yeah.
More accurate to say she. So and then she grows up there for quite a bit of years.
Yeah, like she just
pretty much half her life.
Yeah, she said basically like right as per now, like half her life was there in America and half life has.
And
been
then
here.
the other half back here in Mexico. so we want to talk to her about
we
this.
We would definitely call her like Mexican American properly because she's like really like half life there, half life here, and she has the experience of both. And she identifies with both cultures at the moment. So it's interesting. I think there are a lot of Mexican American here. In fact, like we never did get to ask Ski. Like last week, he was the guest for our show last week, and I never really I don't really know what race is he, because he said maybe it's just his wife is Mexican or something, but I don't know if he's also Mexican, you know?
Yeah. We didn't get into that.
Yeah, we didn't ask him.
We were talking so much about music and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah. Shout out to Ski, DJ Ski High. Yeah. But this thing is really interesting. I mean, imagine if you're in that situation, right? Like you're born in China.
Ooh, Melanie's back.
All right.
Hi.
Yeah, the connection looks much better right now. Yeah, just now you were all blurry and everything. Yeah. So yeah, we have so many questions for you. We were discussing the questions while you were gone. Like I mean, like even for language, like we were wondering if your accent, like being in the US when you came here to Mexico, did it like, was your accent weird for speaking Spanish, or is exactly the same? Because you left in '96. That's not too long ago.
No, it was kind of weird. I did not notice it. Like I did not notice it. I thought that my Spanish was, after a while I was like, oh, I don't have an accent. But then like a few friends were like, where are you from? Where I'm from. She's like, yeah, it doesn't sound, like ours. And I was like, oh, I was raised in Chicago. I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand. But yeah, it was a little bit weird. I don't know how my Spanish is right now. I don't know if people will be able to notice. But I mean, I think now I'm better in Spanish. I'm a lot better in Spanish now.
Right, but like, how about also all the slangs? Like, did you use the same slangs that the locals here do? No, right?
No, not at all.
Okay, you bring that kind of American kind of I guess you got that Chicago kind of style initially, right? I guess. I want to ask you about the Spanish community in Chicago. Is that a big community over there?
It actually is.
Okay.
So there's actually a place called La Villita, which is like, I don't know if you've ever been to La Villa here in Mexico City, which is of La Virgen de Guadalupe, which is like the Virgin Mary and everything.
Right. Yeah.
We know of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have a place like that in Chicago called La Villita, which is like 26th Street, and it's full of Mexican. They even have like street food, like here in Mexico, they sell elotes and everything. Like the Mexican culture is very strong over there. But I was raised in a Caucasian neighborhood with Puerto Rican neighborhood. Like it was mixed. So I didn't really start it like on being around a lot of Mexicans until I was like in 7th grade. That's when I started to listen to more Mexican music. I started getting more into soccer. Like I actually got into soccer. And then, but like from kindergarten to 6th grade, it was mostly Puerto Ricans and Guatemalans and Caucasian Puerto Ricans. It was just those three. So that's what I grew up around. And then after that, it was just seventh, eighth, and freshman year. And then when I got here to Mexico, everything was just Mexican, just because we were here already.
Yeah, of course. So when you first arrived here, this is we getting to the the main question. Like when you first arrived here, you said you were 15?
Yeah.
Or how old? So at that point, like, how did you feel? Like, did you expect Mexico to be the way it is? It was?
I actually did not know what to expect of it just because I was not happy of coming here. Like when I arrived here, I'm not gonna lie, my mom, she at one point thought that I was going to run away to go back to the US. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. But that was her thought at one point, just because of the fact that I did not want to be here. Like I would daily tell her on a daily basis, I don't want to live here. I don't like the people. The people are rude to me. Classmates are rude to me. Like I don't want to be here. So it was difficult for me the first few.
In the beginning?
Yeah, at the beginning. Then like when I started school, I started making more friends and everything. And then I went to prepa, which is like high school. And then I made more friends who I kind of connected with just because, they had certain things that I liked. They liked the same thing, the music and everything. But I think that where I felt like when I got into the podcast, you mentioned something about where did you feel more at home at? And where I felt more at home at was like in, all of Reforma, just because it kind of reminded me of being downtown in Chicago with all the tall buildings and everything. So like I would just walk all of that from El Ángel to Chapultepec to my house. It was just like a daily walk thing, just because it made me feel like I was over there.
Yeah, we get it too, because also we are from a major city, and then like that whole Reforma stretch, it looks like home. It does feel like home. Yeah, and like Santa Fe as well. Like Santa Fe, you've been, right?
Yeah, it does. Like places with tall buildings would just make me feel like I was still at Chicago.
Right. Mexico
from Chicago. Sorry, the one thing I did miss from Chicago was the food, which is kind of like, okay, you're in Mexico. Mexico has good food. Why would you miss food from Chicago? But it was just food that I grew up with. Like it sounds so, but even the chips, just because Chicago has one certain type of chips that actually no other state in the U.S. has. So. So it was just like, okay, so they don't have that in other states, and they don't have that here. So whenever I still have a best friend from Chicago that she comes to visit me. Whenever she comes, she brings me chips. Like
that's a good friend.
Hot chips.
What kind of chips is it? Is it like a corn? Is it corn chips or what kind of chips?
Yes, they're actually called hot crunchy curls. You can look it up.
Hot country curls?
Hot country curls.
Hot country curls. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. Like the special chips from Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to talk about food because I mean, Mexico is known for great Mexican food, obviously, right? Mexico City, like okay, so when you arrived, it was Mexico City, like you, and and there's, I mean, so far everything you were saying is kind of like about getting used to, because I mean, you were a kid, you brought out of the environment you were comfortable in, and then you're fighting back with your parents, like, no, I don't want to do this and stuff like that. Yeah. But like once, how long firstly did you take to like start to like really enjoy being in Mexico? Was it like how many years like was that?
I think it did take me a while. I think that it happened, like, I know the time is so short, but I think it happened around 3 years ago. Just because 3 years ago, I still had the fantasy of going back to the US to live there. And
Okay.
like after a while, I was like, wait a minute, I like living here.
Right,
Then
right,
it
right.
sunk in. Then it sunk in that you like living in Mexico. Yeah.
And please tell us, that must have been a beautiful moment also, right? Like when you fall in love with Mexico.
Yeah, actually, it's, I don't know, there's something about the sun here. I know it's the same sun and everything, but the way that it comes out, like it's just
I hear you.
it's
Yes.
just that. So then, actually, like 3 years ago was my first time going on vacation by myself, like taking a solo trip. And my first trip was
Wow.
actually to Cancun.
Mm.
And I saw so many sunrises in Cancun that it was just like, why do I want to go to the States and be, just in a place like that when I can have all of this at any time?
Mm.
No. So then I was just like, no, I want to live here. I probably not Mexico City, but I want to live in Mexico. Like I want to live here in Mexico. I don't plan moving to the US actually anymore. Like it's not in my plans unless it's Hawaii, just because there's a beach. It's full of beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to go to Hawaii, right? I mean, Hawaii, like, it's like paradise.
Yes.
Yeah, but like, okay, so then let's go back to food. So I'm sure after you got like more comfortable in Mexico, like you started to enjoy the food, right? Because like the Mexican food in the US is not the same as like in Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not the
No.
same. Now that I see
Not
like,
the same.
for example, videos on TikTok that come from Mexican food in the US, I just look at it and I'm like, no, those tacos are not Mexican tacos.
Yeah. Yeah, when we were in the US for like a short period of time, we had Mexican food, and then when we came to Mexico, and we're like, this is not the same as in the US. It's completely
Something
different. Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you hit the right spots, like the certain food
Actually,
trucks in LA. Yeah.
made me feel well from the beginning, just because it was like, okay, I've never tried this. It's a different flavor. So that's one of the things that I did enjoy coming here, which was, I did miss Chicago food, but I enjoyed trying, stuff that I've never tried. Or maybe I did try it, but it did not taste the same at all.
Mm-hmm. And what do you like best about the food? Like what food do you like over here?
Wow, that's a difficult question. And there's a lot
Everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I actually have a friend from Austria. I just met her like 2 days ago. Like we met up and we were talking about that. She's like, oh, where I live, I can go out at night and there's a lot of street food, even at 11 p.m. Even if you go out to the club, there's street food all the time. And there's like variety. You can go from dessert, you can go to tacos, you can go, do a pizza, hot dog. So that's one of the good things that Mexico has. It's a lot of street food, and there's always something to eat. There's always something to try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Like late night taco stands and all that, right?
Yeah, we love that. We love the late night food kind of thing. We come from that kind of culture. So Singapore is all about food, and it's like getting your food anytime you want kind of thing. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, the late night thing appeals to us as well.
After clubbing, roti prata.
Yeah, I mean,
Roti prata with egg.
Like Melanie's not gonna know any of the things we're saying. Yeah. But then we are talking about Indian food because Singapore is like multicultural. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's not get into it though, because I miss it too much. Like it's a kind of Indian bread with egg on it.
Do you visit do you go over to Chicago like every once in a while still, like visit like your people there?
No,
or you don't go back anymore?
I actually haven't been to Chicago since I came back. Just because I was based over there, but I wasn't able to get like my documents. So I'm actually gonna get my visa this year, just because. I work for a company in Miami. So they want me to go over there just to meet some people. So I do plan to go back to the US, but just like a work thing, like and to see my dad, because my dad still lives in Chicago actually. Like he didn't come.
Okay.
Yeah, he stayed over there.
Great. Yeah, so like you definitely need to visit him because it's been so many years, right? Yeah. So if you get your paperwork done, then you can go to and fro.
Yes, if I do get it done, I will now spend my Christmas in Chicago just because I love Christmas with snow. That's one of the things that I miss the most.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you know what? Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's almost like a nostalgic thing, right? Like it's Christmas, you gotta have it that way, right? We understand that because for us, Singapore doesn't snow, but it rains, and when we think of Christmas, what we feel or what we like is like when it's all rainy and you see the lights reflected on the roads and stuff, and with the Christmas lights. That's a
like our
Singaporean tradition for Christmas.
Yeah, so like I mean, when it comes to Christmas, you want your tradition, so how you grew up, like reminding you of your childhood, and that kind of thing.
And actually, that leads to this question I wanna ask you, Melanie. Basically, when it comes to this point of you being okay with being in Mexico, right? Like, are you kind of like deciding not to go anywhere else, right? And what are some of the things that made you kind of like really start to see, okay, maybe I can try to work it out, or maybe I can try to see what is good about a place. And the reason I'm asking you this is because our show is about travel. Our show touches a lot of people who actually travel, and so we understand this thing where you kind of feel out of place in a certain thing, right? But in your situation, you've been feeling this way until a particular moment where you felt, no, I love it here. What kind of led to that change, like,
I think that it would have to be the way I felt free, just because I know that even though I do work, I work from home, and I know that what I make because of my job from the US, I know that I can live good here. That gives me the freedom to travel as if I were probably living in the US. The amounts that I get paid wouldn't even be able, to save up or buy a house. So I felt that kind of freedom of,
Right.
being able to do many things, being here in Mexico, because it was just like, okay, so I know that here in Mexico I can have many things, could just hop on a plane, go to the beach, or go on a bus and go to Cuernavaca or stuff like that. It's that kind of freedom that, I do like here in Mexico that made me want, I want to be here. So yeah, I think it would be that.
So it's that kind of like the freedom feeling, or the feeling like actually you can you get to do what you want here, right? Kind of more than the US, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Like I know
Yeah,
in
and
the
a lot
US,
of
be able to, go out of the country and travel or stuff like that. Even if I lived over there, just because I wouldn't have my documents like correct, like I wouldn't be able to travel. As if here in Mexico, I already went to Costa Rica last year and stuff like that. Like I'm able to travel and come back home, which is here. I made my home here already, so I think it's that freedom that I feel being here.
I think it's pretty cool that, I mean, because you actually came back to Mexico like as a teenager, but right, you're still connected back with US, and your job is with the US. So yeah, I think like, so you actually keep your connections with like both countries, and
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
yes, it's very interesting. It's a very unique. You're a very unique person, and you're in a very unique kind of
Situation. Yeah.
Situation is not really the right word.
Yeah.
More of like crossroads, because you are like you have that whole access to the whole American thing and also the Mexican thing, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess it's a beautiful thing.
Anyway, so we've come to the end of our show. Thank you so much for joining us. Like, we really liked discussing all these things.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the Mexican Americans that are here in Mexico right now, like, I think this is an interesting episode for them to think about.
Sure.
And yeah,
For sure.
and so thank you so much, Melanie.
Thank you so much, Melanie, for joining us.
We are signing out. My name is Celestine Angel.
I'm Isaac Rakesh, and this has been TFS, that forum show on ADR Networks.
Activating your senses.
Thank you to all who joined us here on That Foreign Show. It's been awesome. I'm Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch, and we'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend, y'all.
Entrando por tus oídos hasta llegar al centro de tus emociones, ADR Networks está en este momento
Activando tus sentidos.
That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS.